Pop culture is more than just entertainment. It's a lens into society, relationships, and human behavior. I'm Grace, and here on the Grace Report, we dive into stories beyond the headlines. Whether it's reality TV drama, celebrity scandals, or royal family intrigue, I'm here to break it all down. What it means, why it matters, and how it reflects the world we live in. Join the conversation, share your take, and let's make sense of the culture shaping our lives one story at a time. Good morning, sunshine. We've got a lot to discuss on today's episode of the Morning Report. And I see some of you guys in the live chat were already talking about the crazy news about that Teen Mom cruise being officially canceled. There are reports of fraud, allegations, and whatnot being hurled around. Jade and Brianna are really doing a good job of navigating this crisis. Actually, they put out their own statement. They showed that the owner of the whole cruise business experience, whatever, admitted in writing to moving around funds and whatnot on not having enough to cover the fees. It was a mess, and we're going to be getting into all that and more in today's episode of the show. Happy Tuesday to you all. I'm so glad you're here. Let's see who we've got joining us for this week's episode of the show. Hang on, I'm going to turn off my audio because I forgot to toggle with it before going live. So it should be good now. But let's see let's see who's here joining us for today's episode of the Morning Report. Okay, you guys, we've got Gala. Good morning, Gala. Good morning, Ronnie, Jamie. Nice to see you, boo. Good afternoon, she says. Thank you. Good morning, Taryn, Roxy, Cami, Becky, Venetia, Ramster. Yup. And I feel like you're being sarcastic. And you know what? I'm not surprised either. Like this, to be honest, I'm actually surprised about the fraud allegations. I actually thought that it would get canceled because of their inability to sell tickets. Nobody really cares about the Teen Mom universe like that anymore, right? It used to be this huge deal. They did have these cruises in the past. They were able to sell the tickets and pull it off, but it just doesn't have the same draw that it once did, right? Good morning, Kahara, YouTube Addict, Jenny, Amelia, Bedelia, Lil Miss Fluffy as well. So nice to see y'all here. Ramster says, Tuesday is my favorite day on YouTube. Grace Report and my favorite football podcast. Soccer, if you will, for men, all ex-players or otherwise related to football. Just chatting away for 45 minutes. Love that. Happy Tuesday, TGIT. Good morning, Jessica and Keisha. And thank you so much, Winnie the Cat. And good morning to you as well. I had to do a little high-low pony situation today. So I'm glad that you guys are liking it. And thank you so much, Sonia, as well. Good morning, B-Wise. Why is Jade in front of a Bob Ross painting? You know what that was? That was her confessional look from the Teen Mom era. Does it look like a Bob? By the way, I have been trying to pull off these Bob Ross paintings, but I'm having a hard time finding the time to do one of those. He makes it look so damn easy, doesn't it? By the way, I don't know if you guys were able to watch my video not yesterday, but last week. Can y'all let me know in the live chat or in the comment section if you're watching the playback? But did you watch my video last week? It was about how Kale admitted in her podcast, I think it was the Coffee Convos podcast, that Larry, from the Teen Mom producer, had reached out to her. She didn't give the details about it or anything like that, what exactly he was reaching out about. It could be about rebooting the Teen Mom franchise, bringing her back on, or it could be about the spinoff because she had hinted about her son filming some sort of a pilot for the spinoff or whatever, and maybe that being greenlit, maybe being shot down. I don't know. What did you guys think was the story behind that? By the way, good morning, Summer Breeze. Thank you, Autumn Breeze. And isn't that so cute? I have you guys back to back, Summer and Autumn Breeze. Yes. Good morning, Deshauna. So nice to see y'all here. Ooh, we got another wedding photo from Deshauna. Deshauna, you were slaying on your wedding day. Oh my God, this photo is so beautiful too. I love it. I love the back of your dress. The front was really beautiful too, but this is a cool, unique back, kind of like a peekaboo back situation, and I love it. So nice to see y'all here. Thanks so much for all of your compliments, you guys. I'm so happy. Typically I don't wear my hair up because I always feel so like weird and exposed up here, but it seems like you guys love it, so I'm gonna do it a little bit more often. All right, y'all. So thank you for all of your great words. And so Summer Breeze is suggesting I do the Kevin Federline book for my book club with my channel members. I'll look into it. Okay, boo. So nice to see you, and thanks for popping out from the bushes, Carly. Yes, and thank you, Ronnie. It feels so much more comfortable to be shooting from down here, you guys, instead of being on like a bar stool. You know what I mean? So I'm happy about that. I'm going to be continuing to rearrange, play around with the background and whatnot. So stay tuned for that as well. Terry says I could watch Bob Ross, or I could get stuff done. I got to pick one. And unfortunately, that's what it is, right? Like, it's so hard. I missed that. Y'all know I picked up the hobby watercolor painting. I haven't painted, you guys, in like at least 6 months. At least, probably more, just because life has just been lifing, you know, so much to do. So it sucks when you're not able to put the time into your hobbies. Anyway, now, Ramster, look what you did. You got us all on this tangent about Bob Ross and painting and hobbies. I love it. Guys, let me give you a quick rundown on what it is that we're going to be talking about on today's episode of the Morning Report. We're going to be getting into Kim Kardashian admitting to using ChatGPT to study for tests and exams over there. I don't think she's in law school. I don't know what exactly it is that she does, how it's called officially or whatever. But that kind of made me laugh a little bit. I'm like, oh, girl, is that why you failed the bar 3 times? Okay. Then we got to talk about David Eason. The restraining order that Kenelle had filed against him was ultimately dismissed. This is a fresh news story, courtesy of the Ashley. We got to talk about that. Then the Teen Mom cruise being canceled. Jade and Brianna announced it on their Instagram pages. We got all the info on that. And then the first photos of Diddy in jail are out as well. And do you guys remember Dance Moms like Abby Lee Miller and whatnot? Well, her former student, Nia, is accusing her of racism. And the stuff that she talks about experiencing via Abby as a child, it's horrible. It's gut-wrenching. It breaks your heart. And I'm really looking forward to talking about it with all of you guys. I used to be a very casual watcher of Dance Moms. I was never really like all that full-blown into it. But yeah, so some stuff really had you kind of scratching your head as far as that show is concerned. And I'm excited to dig further into it. In fact, let me know if you guys are fans of Dance Moms and whatnot. Maybe we could even get into this book as well together. Now, let's start off with the Kim Kardashian story, shall we? So she's talking here about how she uses ChatGPT to study for legal exams. And exactly how well that worked out for her. So let's go ahead and take a look at this interview that she did with Vanity Fair and Tiana Taylor to promote their new show called All's Fair.
She get one.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you use ChatGPT for life advice?
No.
Do you use it at all?
Yes.
What about dating advice?
No.
Do you consider ChatGPT to be a friend?
No. I use it for legal advice. So when I am needing to know the answer to a question, I'll take a picture and snap it and like put it in there.
So you're cheating?
They're always wrong. It has made me fail tests.
Are you serious?
All the time. And then I'll get mad and I'll like yell at it and be like, you made me fail. Why did you do this?
So technically,
and it will
you do
talk
consider
back
it a
to
friend.
me. Yeah.
So you consider it a friend. It's just.
No, I don't consider it a friend.
So she's a friend of me.
Yes, in front of me. But then I will talk to it and say, hey, you're going to make me fail. How does like that make you feel? That you need to really know these answers. I'm coming to you. Right. And then it'll say back to me, this is just teaching you to trust your own instincts. You knew the answer all along.
So she clocked you. So technically you and ChatGPT are friends. Just
toxic friends is what she says. I don't know why Tiana was so fixated on the idea of Kim seeing ChatGPT as a friend. She told you she doesn't see it as a friend. Like, let's keep it moving at that point, right? I don't think we really need to keep on forcing the issue. Maybe you see ChatGPT and your chatbot as your friend, but it's not the case with everybody. Some people kind of just see it as a tool to help them accomplish certain tasks or to get certain advice from, right? Just saying. I don't know about you guys. Y'all let me know if you see it as a friend. You know who just called me, you guys? Right now, I have to give you guys this story before we finish. I am hosting Thanksgiving here in Paris, right? And typically, the turkeys and stuff are prepared for the American Thanksgiving, which is at the end of the month, right? But one of my friends is going away on a work trip at the end of the month. So we have to celebrate early. We're going to be celebrating this Saturday. So I've been going to all the different butchers, boucheries, to ask them, do you guys have any turkeys coming out early? Do you have any? Like, we went by foot to like 4 or 5 different ones. And some of them have been like, oh, we'll write down your number. We'll call you if we get any turkeys early, blah, blah, blah. So one of them just called me. They left a message. So I'm hoping it's good news. They're my last hope. And let me tell you guys something else that's crazy. I don't know if any of you guys are Francophone. I think a couple of you guys are, or at least bilingual with French. There's a show that's really popular here in France, or it was when it first came out. And it was called Le Bureau des Légendes. And it's so good. It's a really good thriller about like spies and stuff. And when we went to our first butcher to ask about that Thanksgiving turkey, guess who was there? One of the lead actresses from the show. We were so stunned. And like, we asked her all these questions and, told her we loved her work on the show and stuff. It was a really fun experience. Anyway, little tangent. By the way, I'm seeing this come up in the chat that you guys do not want any money going into Kay Federline's pockets. Y'all are not here for Kevin Federline whatsoever. And listen, I get it, right? But let's see what Summer Breeze has to say. She says, Kevin Federline is definitely a bum, but after reading Brittany's book, her mom's book, and now this book, you can piece together the wild list that was actually happening. And I think it's fair when you compare your sources. Because, listen, y'all, K-Fed is a bum, but he had to raise those kids on his own because, Brittany just was not in a good place to be able to do that. Even before she was stripped of the custody and put into the conservatorship, she had those children in very, very eyebrow-raising situations, and that couldn't have been easy. But at the same time, he saw that she was a little bit off her rocker, and he went and put, got her pregnant with a second child, which, wasn't the greatest either. Now let's see. People use AI. It's so, what's happening? The chat GPT. That's the thing though about AI is that at this point, I feel like it's inescapable, right? Like when you do your Google searches, like now, like a lot of it will say that it's powered by AI. They've got the AI browser. If you read an article, there's something like, oh, do you want like an AI summary of this? Like it is everywhere. They want us hooked on that thing as much as possible. So I really do hope that they find a way to make it as sustainable as possible. Because from what I'm hearing about the amount of water and electricity and energy that it uses, it's a little bit tricky if we all use it, as much as some people claim to use it. Just saying. Now, let's see. Thanksgiving. Listen, it's still a very, little celebrated thing. So you have to like go around trying to find it. And this is a great question, Winnie the Cat. Half of my friends are Tunisian who are going to be at this dinner. So that's why we can't do a ham, but a ham would have been a lovely idea as well. There's nothing like a nice, big, juicy, ham thigh or whatever it is that you call it, right? Oh, and I didn't even think about that. But, when I read it, I was like, oh, I wish I could. But a lot of my friends are Muslim, and so they don't eat pork. Nice to see you, E and Michelle. Good morning, y'all. So nice to see y'all here. Now, you guys, like I said, we've got some back-to-back juicy stories to get into in today's episode of the show. We just got into Kim Kardashian admitting to using AI and AI failing her as far as her legal studies are concerned. And now we've got to get into our next story, which is about the restraining order that Kenelle, or as I like to call her, Kenelle, filed against her ex-boyfriend, David Eason, to get him out of her damn house. Unfortunately, after getting an emergency restraining order, her request for a permanent one was denied. And this is news coming hot off the press from the Ashley's Reality Roundup. Okay. let's get into the story. Okay. First of all, when she filed the restraining order initially, she said that David was verbally ABUSIVE towards her. He was harassing her after the breakup, insulting her, cursing her out, all sorts of things like that, right? And that he was doing these kind of like wheelies or like kind of, you know, burning his tires on her street and whatnot, like all sorts of things. And she actually even filmed that. We saw the video of that over on her Instagram stories, right? And so again, she's seeking to get that extended and on a more permanent basis. But unfortunately, when they met in court last month, they both agreed that David would leave her alone and get rid of all of his things on her property, right? So that she could finally truly fully be free and clear of him. But David is taunting her, you guys, because he's taking his sweet time getting his stuff out of her house. But anyway, according to the Ashley sources, the court reporter told them that Kenelle pleaded her case on Monday, just yesterday, before the judge. And she explained that she was in fear of her safety, given that David had been coming to her home and, quote, verbally abusing me and acting manic. She says that she lives alone, and because of David's alarming history of violent behavior, she wanted the restraining order to make her feel more safe, which I think is justified, right? But again, this goes back to the frustrating thing about this, right? David does indeed have a long history of violent behavior, of harassing women, of being violent against women and children and animals. So how did we even get here? That's the question that I keep on asking myself. You know, I don't want to blame her or anything like that, but can we please pay attention to people's past histories, you know, men's past histories, and protect ourselves by refusing to engage with men who have a long history of violence against women? It feels like the reasonable thing to do. It feels like the smart thing to do. Just saying. Anyway, but unfortunately, the judge said no to extending the restraining order for another year, you guys. The source said, and I quote, after Kenelle presented her case, the judge ruled that there was not enough evidence to show that David had been harassing Kenelle or causing her emotional distress. So he dismissed the restraining order request. David looked pleased, but Kenelle was livid. So there you go. They were both in the courtroom there together. And listen, I get it. I would be pissed too if I were her. And this guy had such a long history. He truly does. He's got multiple restraining orders against him right now. On top of that, he needs a psych eval before even being able to hang out with his kid. He's got another one that there's a no contact order on. Like, it would seem like the reasonable thing for a judge to just say, hey, listen, this is just a violent person. This is just a degenerate overall. So let me go ahead and protect this woman by extending her restraining order by 1 more year, right? And so when it was time for David to go and cut his stuff out of Kenelle's house, the source, well, Kenelle herself actually told the Ashley that David wasted the court's resources, the cops, for 3 hours. In that time, he only grabbed a cowboy hat, a few tools, and one of his bikes. Quote, after being at my house for 3 hours, he left with most of his stuff still in the shed. Here's my thing, though. I really do feel like at that point, if there was a time and date and an escort provided for you to get your things out, you have to get your things out, all of it, or a reasonable amount of it. And if not, the other person can just leave them out and they can be damaged, and then after a certain amount of time, they can sell them or just get rid of them. That sort of a thing, right? But a reasonable amount. So in this case, with David making no real effort, taking hours to remove 3-4 items, I do think that she should have been allowed to just put his stuff all out there, let it get ruined in the rain, let the hyenas or whatever they've got out there in the boonies, let them destroy these things. Just saying. All right. So Kenelle told the Ashley that the deputy who escorted David onto the property was angry about having his time wasted and said that he would not escort David again to get any more of his things. All right. So Kenelle shared her own take on this situation over on her Twitter account. She complained about how the court system and the law around here, North Carolina, will make someone want to relocate this area for that. And so she got quite a bit of support via her followers. So she had a follower who asked if David had a lawyer representing him. If he did and you didn't, I've seen that happen before. You wouldn't think it would matter, but apparently it does. To which Kenelle responded that yes, apparently David did have a lawyer. Listen, that alimony check hit, you guys, because when David was going up against those child ABUSE charges, he was representing himself. And those are serious criminal charges, right? That carry jail time. And he didn't have the money for a lawyer. He was begging Janelle's lucky court star to represent him. And Destin said no, right? But in this restraining order case, all of a sudden, after the Janelle money comes through, he's got the money to be able to represent himself and to win this sort of a case, right? And so another one of her followers posted another comment saying, and I quote, "I'm stunned. How can she get one? And she's in another state," she being Janelle, "but he can come onto your property and you're denied." And Kenelle says, "The judge was a male, and that's about all that I've got for you." And that's the thing, you know, the justice system still is very much sexist. It's still very much going to protect men. And again, that is why we as women have to be very smart and very prudent about who it is that we're dating and spending our time with. Let's not go out and date men with a very public history of abusing women. That is going to be very helpful for us in a sexist world, in a world where we're at such high risk, you know, of falling victim to DV and stuff. We have to do what we can to protect ourselves, because the justice system just does not protect us, right? And even if she did get that restraining order and it got extended or whatever, at the end of the day, a restraining order is a piece of paper. How many women have still been deleted and stalked by people who they had restraining orders out on, right? We have to be as careful as possible. We can't think that we're going to change a grown-ass loser who is a deadbeat to all of his children and who has proven with a legal track record of like a decade plus that he is a violent, abusive piece of crap who isn't worth a damn thing. We can't be doing that. We really can't. That's what pisses me off about this case a lot. I feel for her, but at the same time, like, please protect yourselves. Brenda says, "I hope you're locked and loaded. Maybe you can find someone to tow that shed off your property and have someone burn it, please," right? And so I'm happy to hear that Kenelle says that she stays locked and loaded. Let someone F around and find out. So exactly. I don't know. Y'all, please let me know. Is North Carolina a stand your ground state, right? So if deadbeat David were to make his way onto her property in a menacing way, is there something that Kenelle could do to protect herself in that sort of instance? I hope so. I really, really hope so. Oh, Lord, Lord, Lord. Let me see what you guys have to say about it. You know, this is a really, really sad and crappy situation. But to be honest, I think that with all that David has on his plate, the other restraining orders, the Jace situation, the custody of Ensley and whatnot, like, I do think that he's going to be leaving her alone. Like, I don't know what he's doing about his stuff. I think the problem is that he doesn't have anywhere to put it, right? Like, isn't he homeless? Like, he was squatting on Janelle's boat last I heard. And when Kenelle found him, that's where he was living. So where's he going to put all this stuff? Unfortunately. Kahara, what about a duck for Thanksgiving? Oh, this is bougie. Unfortunately, I hate duck. I find it to be just too, I don't know how to describe it, but this is how I find duck. What does that mean to you guys? Because that's how I find duck. When I'm with my daughter and my boyfriend, we have a duck. But when I'm with my mom and my family, we have turkey. You know, there's so many restaurants here in Paris that are like duck and champagne restaurants. So if you really like duck, you're going to love Paris. I don't know if you've already been or not, but there's so many duck and champagne restaurants. Unfortunately, I just don't like it. It feels, I don't know how to explain it, but that's how it feels like to me. Woody the Cat says, "Oh, my apologies. I didn't consider dietary restrictions." Well, no worries at all. It was a great suggestion. In fact, listen, if I do another Thanksgiving, with a different group of friends or something like that, where that wouldn't be such an issue, I would love to have ham there. Good on you, Gwen. You see, like, they're really, really pushing. Cynthia loves her AI. They're really pushing for it. You know, they really, really are. Summer Breeze. Let me bookmark your Kevin Federline comments because I'm actually really interested. But I want to see these David Eason Kenelle comments, and then I'll come back to you. Okay, boom. Jimmy says, that's such BS. He is dangerous. Exactly. He has a very, very long history proving that he is dangerous to women, children, animals, everything. Right. And I feel exactly, that's how I feel. I've got very complicated feelings about this. It was entirely preventable. It truly, truly was. It was entirely preventable. When he says, do a Google search of the men that you're dating. She can always file a new one. And that's good advice too. So I hope she takes that advice. Right. Hopefully she will eventually be able to get that. But again, I do think he's going to leave her alone, and I hope that that's the case. But again, if he bothers her, she can definitely go ahead and file once again. Ramster says, I don't want to go all Dr. Phil, but past behavior predicts future behavior or something like that. Yet he still finds women who will believe his lies. Exactly. What do you get out of a relationship with David Eason? He's broke. Truly, truly broke. No job, no money, no ambition to get a job, right? On top of that, he's squatting on his ex-wife's boat. He's got no contact with any of his freaking kids. He's got a history of, like, what are you getting out of a relationship with David Eason? Like, be so effing for real, ladies. Be so effing for real. You know, like, maybe he can say, oh, all those things are lies, right? I mean, I didn't hit those ladies. They lied. Then why aren't you in the contact with any of your kids? Why don't you have a damn job? Let's talk about those other things. Like, please have the bare minimum expectation standard that your boyfriend has a freaking job. Okay, please. That's the least that you can expect for yourself. It's not gold digging to expect a man to be gainfully employed, especially a father of 3. Just saying, right? Ugh, it's so crazy. It is driving me absolutely. It is driving me absolutely nuts. Good morning, Breeby. Now you got me wanting to watch 101 Dalmatians. It's such a good movie. I really like it. The no catch bails do not help either. They keep trying to reform, but I don't think they found the perfect recipe or secret or whatever quite yet. Good morning, BB. How are you doing? Happy Tuesday. Ramster says, in most of Western Europe, you can Google all you want, but privacy laws prevent you from accessing a criminal record. But this was on TV. Exactly. That's one thing that you guys in America have as an advantage over those of us living in Europe, is that the privacy laws are not strong at all. You know, Shivu, where you guys are at, like they are here. So please take full advantage of it. You're really, really lucky to have that, you know, to be able to protect yourselves. And again, that was on TV. And she is a fan of that TV show. So she saw it all. She knew it all. Gwen says, many states are stand your ground states as a result of ALEC. The history there is disturbing. Ooh, I'm scared to know what that means, this whole ACT thing, right? Okay, look, it's a stand your ground. So I'm happy that she at least has a gun to be able to protect herself, because she seems to be a very small girl as well, like a short girl. So her up against like a 6'5" Sasquatch or whatever, like there's no competition, right? Especially with him being a man, like be locked and loaded in that case. Renee says, I thought he actually bought some land by the house. Oh, Lord. He won some in the separation. If you're talking about the house, yeah, some land by the land. Yes, he won some in the divorce. Listen, marrying Kenelle was the best financial move this man ever made in his life. He walked away with so much. And that's the sad thing. He keeps on winning big in these divorces, in these restraining order justice things. Like, I really hope that at least in the case of the Jace situation, he gets some sort of like jail time. All right, because the way that he keeps on winning against these women is like weird and suspicious as hell. And yes, we need a cat. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to the butcher and get a really big chicken, enough for about 8 people, because we're going to be about 8 people for this Thanksgiving dinner. So listen, let me give you guys the menu we're going to have for Thanksgiving. Okay, we're going to have the big chicken. We're going to make stuffing, cranberry sauce, mashed potatoes, apple pie, maybe like a walnut cranberry salad. What else am I missing? Am I missing something on that list? I don't know where you would find collard greens in Paris, and baked mac and cheese isn't really like a thing that we do in Canadian Thanksgiving that I'm aware of anyway. So I'm not going to do that, but I'm trying to think. Am I missing anything on this list? I hope not. I don't think I'm missing anything. but we'll see. Yes, Gwen, that is the word. Gamey. I think it's a little gamey for me personally. It just feels like hefty, like I'm wrestling with it. Like the only meat that I want to wrestle with is beef jerky. That's what I'll say. Like I like wrestling my beef jerky, but after that, not so sure. Baby, the story we just covered was about how dog killer Dave won in the restraining order battle against Kenelle. Kenelle wanted for it to be extended for another year, and unfortunately, the judge said no to that. And David, not somehow, thanks to Janelle, actually, he had the money to get himself a lawyer to be able to beat this restraining order situation. And on top of that, he was ordered to go and pull his things out of her house and out of her shed. So he had a police escort and everything. But this man only removed like his hat, his boots, and one other item in the span of about 3 hours. Pissed off the cop. The cop said that he refused to do any other things like that with David. What is it? Escorts or whatever with him, because he is just a time waster. And we were talking about how Kenelle should be allowed to just put his stuff out, let it get damaged, by the great outdoors or something like that. Exactly. It is a privilege. She was so lucky to be able to have all that in black and white. And when she started dating him, everybody told her to do not move this man into your house. Here's all his pictures. Here's all his mugshot. Here's everything. It was a privilege to have that much information. When he says Rue on Twitter was saying that he would have had to prep the land for the shed and he's not going to do it. Listen, he's going to burn through that money quickly, because when you have a lot of money, then listen, in today's day and age, what did he get? Like 30K, and he doesn't have it all in one fell swoop. And then when you don't have any money coming in and you've got nothing but expenses going out, like it's tough for him to be able to do that, which is why I really do think that Kenelle should be able to just, sell that stuff or get rid of it in some way. Kahara says, to the Americans, y'all, it's an election day. Please vote. I just cast my ballot. Good on you for fulfilling your civic duty, Kahara, and I hope that you guys all get out there and vote as well. Esther says, hi, Grace, finally caught another live. Nice to see you, Esther. Hope you're doing well. I know we need to count all this food, right? And thank you, Gala. I have gravy as well. And I have a gravy boat. I love me some gravy. Lamb is another good idea. I like that. Lamb is a good idea. Terry says, no collards. Well, you call it stuffing instead of dressing, so I get it. Yeah, I'm like, can my friends here, like, can they be collard green people? I don't know. I don't know where to even find collard greens. I gotta find it, y'all. Gotta find it. Jeanette, yes, that is the next story that we've got. Okay, the Teen Mom Cruise being canceled. Listen, we're in our food era, right? Give us a quick second so we can talk about my Thanksgiving menu. I don't know if you just popped in, but if you guys are just joining us, I'm talking about how I'm hosting Thanksgiving in Paris here on Saturday, and it's been like a nightmare trying to track down a turkey because it's too early, right? It's not yet Thanksgiving season for the American expats or immigrants here. And so I've just been calling around, going into these butchers, by foot, trying to get a freaking Thanksgiving turkey. Deviled eggs. Really? I've never had deviled eggs for Thanksgiving. I don't think I've ever had deviled eggs, period. I think I've seen these in like movies or TV shows, but I don't really know what that is. I'm going to look into that, Ashley. Lawyer to find a restraining order, but not to fight for his kids. Disgusting. Sad she did know, but unfortunately women learn by their own falling sometimes, right? It's sad, but unfortunately, it's the case with some people. I wonder, was it the fame, like the notoriety that comes with him? Like, what is it? Shem, hey boo, how are you doing? Shem. Gwen says, for the record, I've only had alligator while in New Orleans, and everything's delicious as F down there. Listen, New Orleans does have some really good food. I love the chicken down there. It's bonjour cabbage. What do you put with the cabbage, or do you just put out a bowl of cabbage? How does that work? Because I do love a good cabbage salad or a cabbage roll, and you put some meat in it. I think this is like some kind of like Eastern European food. I don't know I think it's pork that you roll with the cabbage. But again, I can't do pork on the menu. But if there's a cool way to eat cabbage, please let me know. Now, you guys, we are going to get into the Teen Mom Cruise being canceled. I don't think any of you guys are really surprised about this. I know Ramster was already joking about it earlier, but I think a lot of you guys are in the same boat where you kind of saw this coming. Again, Teen Mom is just not what it used to be. The show, it seems to be temporarily like on hiatus as well due to extremely, extremely low ratings. And so for them to try to do some sort of a cruise when people aren't really feeling them like that, it was not bound to do well, let's just say, right? But again, I do have to applaud two of the ladies who took part in the Teen Mom Cruise, notably Jade Klein and Brianna De Jesus, for really getting out there and communicating what went down with their fans instead of leaving them in the dark about the entire situation. So why don't we go ahead, take a look at their explanation for exactly what happened and why it is that they are no longer participating in the Teen Mom Cruise as we know it, right? Here's their post. Jade actually had a caption beside the explanation, and it says, post-game Cruise 6 and all others canceled. Please read and dispute any charges. We are all still trying to gather more information regarding this cruise. We would never want our names associated with any type of fraudulent activity. We are hoping everyone's money is returned like stated by the owner of Showroom. And so the note says, cruise update, April 2026. Unfortunately, the post-game Cruise 6 in April 2026 through Showroom Travel is canceled. I'm not really sure what's going on, and I've seen a lot of different stuff online regarding fraudulent activity. Mike, the owner of Showroom, stated everyone is getting a full refund. I'm still trying to confirm more details regarding some of the posts I've seen from other participants. Me and the cast are really disappointed and are hoping all funds are returned as promised. At this point, I would recommend reporting to your bank a dispute with any Showroom travel charges. On the next slide, I will share the post that Mike Gibson, owner of Showroom Travel, shared on Post-Game Cruise Facebook. I am still trying to inquire more information regarding all of this. None of us would want to participate or be affiliated with any organizations that are doing any types of fraud or not holding up their end of the deal. So she said, this man is a fraudster. Lock him up. Lock him up. So let's take a look at this post where Mike allegedly, apparently, potentially admits to fraud. It's crazy, you guys. So here's his post over on Facebook. So there must have been a Facebook group for people who had confirmed purchase of the cruise. Statement. Sadly, I bit off more than I can chew. I have used revenue from one cruise and lapsed it into paying deposits for the other post-game cruises, and actually a lot of businesses do. With mass cancellations and failure to hit sales goals on future cruises, the funds have not been made to pay for all talents to participate in this cruise. This is sole responsibility of me, the sole owner of Showroom Travel, Mike Gibson. Deposits made through Showroom Travel, which is all access funds added to the wholesale cost of the cruise, are held in a reserve account through our credit card processor. We advise that you dispute all transactions made through Showroom Travel, LLC. Your disputes will be approved immediately as they are received, and Stripe will reissue payment back to your original payment method within 5 to 7 business days. This was not my intentions for any of these cruises. Your agents are very limited on information, and you know different. They're amazing people simply trying to help people. I understand this carries no weight to any of you, but I truly do apologize for this. We are canceling the group, so all funds related to this cruise will be refunded within the next 5 to 7 business days. Dun, 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 dun. Robbing Peter to pay Paul. A tale as old as time, isn't it? Let's see what y'all have to say about this. It's unfortunate for the Teen Moms, and there are dozens of fans who are hoping to be over there, meeting them and everything, their families and whatnot. You know who I would have wanted to see? I think they would have sold out if they put Big Gulp Christie on. If Big Gulp Christie was there, I think I would have gotten a ticket. But I'm not going to buy a ticket to go see Jade, Brianna, Caitlin, Tyler. Was Macy doing it again? I don't know. Kenelle. No, I want to see and count how many times Big Gulp Christie goes over to the soda machine and fills her cup to the brim. That's what I want to see. Oh, la, 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 la. Oh, Jaleesa's here. Good morning, Jalisa. Nice to see you. Beef or turkey sauce. Oh, yummy. That sounds good. Thank you guys for these tips. I'm loving this. I offre mimosa en France et en Belgique. Ah, dis donc. I've never tried this. stir fry and sauteed bell pepper. Oh, y'all, this is some good menu. I gotta write all this down. Listen, y'all, you're distracting me. And thank you. Let's get to what you guys have to say about this cruise, okay? What do you guys have to say about this cruise being canceled? Cammie says Kate and Tyler weren't going on the cruise anyways. They were going to stay home. You know, all that money. Do you ever see those two traveling ever, like really, truly traveling? I don't think so, right? I'm kind of curious about that. Same with Amber. Amber, you don't even have kids. Like your kid, you lost custody of those kids, right? Like go travel, go do something, but you're always holed up in your house, lip syncing on TikTok with all that money. And she bought her house in cash, so she's good. You know, she could really use her money in all these cool, exciting ways. Go to school, go pick up a hobby and really invest in it. But no. Hey, Kate. Nice to see you. Listen, better late than never, boo. I'm glad you're here. About as successful as 90 Day Fiancé No Neck Ed's tour of Thailand. Ew. Men like Ed going to Thailand, just yuck. You already know what they're looking for over there, right? Yep. Well, that's essentially what they're saying. They're saying that the owner was robbing Peter to pay Paul. He had too many of these cruises scheduled at the same time. And he really messed up the game as far as paying people, vendors and whatnot. Winnie the Cat says Kate and Ty were talking to LB last night and said from the get-go when they were asked to do it, it looked sketchy. Ooh, gee. Well, good for them for having the foresight and listening to their intuition about this. So I'm happy to see that they didn't get wrapped up in this. There ain't enough controversy as it is. Did you guys see the controversy around Tyler and his bulge? For some reason, he likes to show off his bulge, even when he's around his kids. Hey, Shelby. So he wore I think it was like a Superman or something like that costume. And he had like his bulge out and stuff. And he's just posing with Kate, the kids, like it's no big deal. And he got dragged so hard, he had to delete the post or something like that because people were sick and tired of him and that damn bulge. So funny. Come on, like you guys wouldn't. I would be so freaking fat. To me, I would see that as an anthropological study. They definitely are. They're so strange. You know, I think they're good people, and I think they're people who mean well, but they're so strange. Good morning, Ruby. Nice to see you. I just know it's sunny where you are. I just know it's sunny, boo, and I'm jealous. I'm looking over there at the clouds, and I'm jealous. Oh no, Dwayne is a big gulp girly. But listen, I'm fascinated. I'm in total awe and admiration of my big gulp girlies. And listen, one of my dear followers told me to open up a P.O. box so she can send me a big gulp cup. And I'm looking into this whole P.O. box because I actually do want a big gulp cup. I would fill it with water, but I would be so fascinated by this whole thing. Like just the idea, like, can it fit on my shelf? These cups are so big. Can I ask you, what do you put in your big gulp? Do we know what big gulp Christy puts in her big gulp? Is it like a Mountain Dew? What is it, like Coke, Pepsi, Gatorade? What does she drink? Woody the Cat says, Amber considers it traveling when she goes from the couch to her bed. I swear, she never leaves her house. Do you ever even see her go to a restaurant? Like nothing. Right? Amber could never leave her couch. That's her safety blanket. It seriously is. And it's so sad. Imagine having that level of financial freedom so young. And, you know, being child-free with 2 kids. Like, that's amazing, you know? You can go travel, do whatever it is that you want. Like, go live, like, you know, being a deadbeat isn't good, obviously, right? But the fact that she doesn't, you know, she technically doesn't have kids. So, like, what's her excuse? A lot of these other people, like, traveling with kids is stressful or whatever. I don't want to. But what's her excuse, you know? She used to do boxing. Really? You know, she was so promising when she first came out of the clinkety clink. She was so promising, and then boom, nothing. Like, she really seemed like she was going to be okay and change her life, but nope. Amber thinks couch surfing is an actual sport. Y'all are killing me today, and I love it. Derek says he needs a dance belt. I think he gets off on it. I think he wants people to comment on his bulge. But the thing is, he's mixing his kids with it, which is weird. You know what else is weird? Janelle, look, I was minding my own business last night, and I opened my Instagram app, and out comes Janelle in lingerie, and I was like, and she's promoting her OnlyFans. I'm like, don't you also post your kids on this account? Like, they really need to do something about these weird, like, these weird influencers mixing their like pornos with their family lives. Like it's very, very strange and inappropriate. I feel like something needs to be done about that. Like it's atrocious. Ruby, I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous. Shem says Big Gulp 7. Yeah, I think it is. I think it's like something you got to do. Big gulpers, please. Do you get those things at a convenience store? I think it is. Do they also have it at like the fast foods? Because I think sometimes at fast food, do they still have supersize? I think this might be a supersize or of whatever sort of a thing, right? Who would take care of her puppets? Good question. Oh my God. Didn't she have like a bed full of puppets and dolls and all that stuff? It's one of those days. A beer slushy goes in the Big Gulp. A beer slushy? What is this? This sounds good. You know what I would love in a Big Gulp? Iced cappuccino. If you guys have had an iced cappuccino at a Tim Hortons, you know what I mean. Have any of you guys had like a ice cap yet? Like any non-Canadians especially. BB says, I have a Stanley, the big one, and it stays loaded with ice and water. Only way I can drink water. I can't ever do those big cup of Cokes, but I love me. Dr. Pepper is good. I love me some Dr. Pepper too, girl. You got me wanting some. When I drink a soda, it's always going to be a Coke Zero. That's my only thing. I do love, or a Sprite Zero. Those are my two things. But I'm kind of scared for my teeth. They need separate accounts. I agree. It's so freaking inappropriate. They really need to do something. I think that the laws have not yet caught up to the way that these people are behaving. I think the laws maybe assume that parents are going to have common sense and protect their children and not mix them in with cornos. But unfortunately, a lot of these parents are not smart, or maybe they're just greedy, and it's sad. But you get it at 7-Eleven. I love that. I really hope I get a Big Gulp cup, y'all. I'm on my way to Sonic right now for Root 44 root beer. I love a root beer. I'm trying to introduce my people to root beer too. Do we have this like not a convenience store, but this American store? It's called an épicerie. So whenever you have like a store that like specializes in food from a certain culture, whether it's American, Mexican, Italian, whatever, it's called a soit un traiteur, either a trade. Whatever, I don't know the definition, translation, or une épicerie. So I'm going to be going to the American one to get my cranberry sauce coming in the can, and I'm going to get root beer because my peeps have never tried root beer before. Isn't it so fun when you have like, your friends and whatnot who haven't tried things that are just such classics to you, like a root beer and all this stuff? Like, hell yeah, I'm gonna put y'all on game. Let's go. And you guys, listen, we've got some other stories that we need to get into today, including first photos of Diddy in jail. He's in jail with a former NBA athlete. And so I've got a picture of him talking to that person. And lastly, we're going to be finishing off today's episode with allegations of racism against Dance Mom's coach and star Abby Lee Miller, and they are being levied by her former student and dancer Nia Sue. And these allegations are really, truly shocking. Okay, why don't we do the Diddy story? All right, let's do the Diddy story. Okay, where's my thing? Okay, guards, bring him out. We gotta talk about Diddler, as my friend Campfire likes to say. So as you guys know, Diddy was sentenced to a couple of years behind bars. He's not expected to come out until about 2022. He recently got approved for a transfer of sorts, and now photos have come out at this low security prison that he's currently at, courtesy of TMZ. So up until this point, we didn't even get to see him in court or anything like that. In fact, we were only really seeing him through courtroom sketches and interpretations of what it is that he looks like. And so now being able to see him, really what he truly looks like. So there he is over on the left in his court issued jacket, sweatsuit, and hat. He definitely has a lot of grays going on. He's talking to his fellow POS, Sebastian Telfair. So let me tell you what this guy, so again, former athlete, former NBA player, this guy, he's in the prison for certain financial crimes and scamming and whatnot, right? And when he saw the video of Diddy beating Cassie to a bloody pulp to force her into an orgy, this guy said, oh, you know what? Like, I don't see the big deal. Like, some women like push men to hitting them. Like, this just looks like a regular fight between couples. Listen, I hope he gets into this type of fight in prison, because F anybody who could say something like that about such a gruesome, vicious video. Just saying. So Again, Diddy was transferred to FCI Fort Dix jail in New Jersey. And so that's where these photos were taken this past Saturday on the prison yard. All right. Can I just see how many other people they've got around them? What kind of posse Diddy's got and whatnot? Listen, there's quite a lot of people who really want to be around celebrities, right? Men especially. Men are the biggest groupies. Just saying. So they're probably so happy to see these guys in prison with them or jail or whatever it is. So on top of that, there's another update in the Sean Diddy Combs case. So he requested a speedy appeals process, and the judge ultimately wound up granting it yesterday, right? So he seems to be on a roll. First, he gets moved to a prison that he wanted, and that is a lot easier to get through than his original prison. And now he gets an expedited appeals process as well. So the U.S. Circuit Court Judge Beth Robinson is the one who approved Diddy's appeal expedition. And so the lawyers are hoping that overall they will be able to shorten the amount of time that he gets to spend behind bars. Mind you, it's not even a lot of time. He was only sentenced to about 50 months. Typically, prisoners are released early on good behavior. Apparently, he's got some kind of a relationship with Donald Trump. Listen, wasn't it B-Wise? B-Wise, are you still here, boo? Was it you or was it somebody else? Was it Milen? Somebody with a blue icon was telling us that TMZ was lying. So TMZ, they were going hard. And this is about 2 weeks ago because it was before I went away for my vacation. But TMZ was saying by this Friday, Diddy is going to be pardoned by the president. He's going to be pardoned. He's going to be getting out, blah, blah, right? Well, come to find out, 2 weeks have passed, and that is not the case. So I do think that he's going to have to spend the full amount of time, not the full 50, but the full typical with good behavior nonsense that they do, right? So now this is the prospective appeals schedule. According to the judge, Diddy's brief is due by December 23rd, and the U.S. government's brief to counter that is due by February 20th. And then after that, Diddy's team has to reply by March 13th, right? And so if they stay true to this timeline, oral arguments will take place as early as April of next year. And from there, you'll see whether or not he will be able to get out from prison. You know, hopefully the appeal doesn't hold up. Hopefully they stick to the 50-month sentence, or maybe they even make it higher. You know, that would be amazing. This happened in France, actually. Remember that woman, Giselle Pellico, who was being rugged by her husband, you know, in her sleep. And then all these guys were coming in, having their way with her. It was disgusting, that thing, right? So one of those creepers and losers, he filed an appeal claiming that he's a victim in this. He had no idea that she wasn't in on it, right? And so they just said, oh, you want an appeal? Let's lengthen your sentence. So I really do hope that that happens with Diddy. I actually don't think his sentence is long enough. And hopefully the judge that is overseeing his appeal feels the exact same way. You know, why only 50 months? Let's make it 100. All right. Anyway, you guys, listen, we do have a word from some of our sponsors. Don't forget, I do have to get into the Braxtons. I want to be recapping the Braxtons with you guys. It airs on WeTV. One of our longtime sponsors, Philo, has the channel over on their streaming platform. You guys can sign up for a free account using the link in the description box of this video. You know, I don't know if you guys are interested in learning new languages or anything like that, but Hello Talk is a really good option for that. So check out these sponsors and I'll be back. And when we come back, we are going to get into our final story of the day, which is Nia, former star and dancer from Abby Lee Miller's dance company, coming out with some very, very shocking allegations against her former dance instructor. Okay. If you're finding yourself enjoying today's episode of The Morning Report, please don't hesitate to go ahead and give it a thumbs up so YouTube knows you enjoy my content. Take a look and I'll be right back. The Morning Report is brought to you by Philo. Watch your favorite shows and movies from over 70 different channels, including MTV, TLC, WeTV, and more for only $28 a month. Get a free trial today by clicking the link in the description box of this video to get your free trial up and running. Tired of learning languages in boring, frustrating ways? Try TalkPal. TalkPal is your personal AI language tutor. It teaches you languages in fun,
engaging ways. It gives you real-time feedback, assesses your pronunciation, and the learning process is personalized just for you. Join millions of other learners and start your language learning journey today.
Now you've got me craving some candied yams and root beer floats. Oh, there's an expression here when you eat so much, typically when you eat so much, your stomach gets big, right? The expression is genre, what was it? Je rentre en roulant. Genre, I have to be rolled back home because I can't fit into anything because I'm so big after all I ate. That's what we're going to feel like after this Thanksgiving dinner, and I'm so happy about that. The ice is dirty, ash, nasty. Speaking of, I have to re-up on my iron vitamins because tell me why I am craving chalk. I want to eat chalk so bad, which means my iron is so low. I want to eat chalk and I want to eat ice chips. So I need to get on that. Dwayne says Big Gulp is a brand. All convenience stores have an XXXL size cup. Please load me up. Oh, this is just so fun. I love the whole Big Gulp thing. And that's why I love Chrissy so much. The fact that she doesn't go anywhere without it. She's like, it's always that. It's her one outfit, that one gray shirt, and her one crossbody bag. One thing about my girl, she dresses like a cartoon character. Always the same thing, right? You cannot convince me that Amber isn't still doing rugs. Oh, I believe she is wholeheartedly. There's no way you're living that kind of lifestyle completely satisfied if you're not zonked out of your mind. True, Terry. And listen, I'll try to child free. For now, anyway. Just saying. Now, you guys, why don't we get into our final story? I really want to know what it is that you guys have to say about this Abby Lee Miller story because it sounds major. Absolutely major. Like, I believe Nia 100%. I do remember some of the outfits and some of the things that she was made to do as a dancer on the show, some jungle themed stuff that was kind of strange. Or, having only her do like these, certain like solos and stuff. But she goes into all sorts of details about all of that in her book that is actually currently available. I don't know if it's something, were you guys big Dance Moms fans or anything like that? The book is called Bottom of the Pyramid, and she really, truly digs into her time over at the Abby Lee Miller Dance Company. And I wanted to share that with you guys, okay? So first of all, Nia started on the show for 7 seasons. She was on from 2011 up until 2017, always there with her beautiful, elegant, just, amazing mom, Holly. I used to admire Holly. I used to be like, well, Holly gives such rich vibes. I'm like, what does this lady do in her life? She gives rich, rich, rich. So again, in her new memoir, she's now 24 years old, recalling an incident during season 2 where she had her hair in braids. And production, everybody was okay with the braids that she had in her hair. And so she didn't really think anything of it. It's a very classic, typical Black girl hairstyle, right? No big deal. But according to Nia, quote, Abby told me that I needed to fix my hair because it looked awful. She said, on camera, no less, it's like a log coming out of the side of her head. Very weird and rude thing to say to a child, right? And then Nia also described another incident that was not aired on the show in which Abby allegedly asked her, don't you just wish you had white girl hair? And Nia didn't really understand the question. She was like, oh, this is a very strange thing to ask me. No, I don't. And Abby responded allegedly, oh, really? Like, you don't think it would be so much easier? And Nia responded again, no, it didn't matter what Nia said. What Abby said, I knew I didn't want to be white. Unlike the other exchange, this one never aired. That would have been absolutely brutal if it aired on television. So it would have ended the show, I believe. It would have caused a lot of outrage because that's the thing about some of these other incidences or instances of racism is there's a certain level of plausible deniability. Oh, I didn't mean it like that. Oh, I was ignorant to this and that, blah, blah, right? But when you're straight out saying things like that, there's no denying it. And so I think that producers and people perpetuators of this, they know that. And so they like to kind of toe the line in that way. So then she writes about how Abby's comments about her and her body got worse and worse as the show continued. And so apparently Abby used to accuse her of having, quote, bad feet. And she said that Black people were physically predisposed to having flat feet, which is crazy. I never heard about that. Absolutely insane. And she said, Abby would say, well, your people have flat feet, and quote, this struck me as ignorant. I know plenty of Black dancers with perfectly arched feet. Yet despite the fact that she actually believed this ridiculous generalization was true, she threatened punishment for my perceived shortcoming. If you don't point that foot, she'd warn, I'm going to come out there and break it. That's crazy. Listen, one thing about me is I got a not a high arch, a good arch. I might show it to you guys to pay for my my big gulp cup that I want to buy. So she also said comments came directly from Abby and trickled down to some of the girls and their moms, criticizing my thighs, my butts, and even my muscular legs. At one point in season 6, Abby talked about the size of my thighs in the dressing room. This is a child, dude. This is why, like, you know, shout out to my dancers, but this is why a lot of dancers seem to suffer from lifelong body image issues, like being picked apart for your body from such a young age like this. It is horrifying, truly, truly horrifying. And it leads to such disordered eating behaviors, you know, and I hate that this happened to her. And I hate that this happens to anybody, you know, in the dance world, any child in the dance world, right? She implied that I was fat because I was not working hard enough. This was just one of many comments Abby made to create an illusion that I was lazy or just not as strong as a dancer. Viewers and some of my castmates ate that up without question. And so there's another part in the book in which Nia talks about a lot of the solos that Abby gave her and how they had racial undertones to them. And this is the stuff that I was seeing as well when I was watching the show, right? So one of her first solos was called Natty of the Jungle. And it's about a child left in the wild to be raised by monkeys. And then the next one she had when she was 8 years old was called Satan's Little Lamb. You know, like Abby was sending a very clear message with these solos, with the way that she spoke about her body, her hair. It's very disgusting that this was able to continue. And so Nia writes that her mom would often confront Abby about these routines. And sometimes her mom would have to bite her tongue because, you know, Nia was excited about the routines because she was too young to understand the racial undertones of the routines that she was being made to dance to. And so she gave an interview to People magazine about all of this. And this is an interview that she gave in May, right? And so Nia had said that she felt like, quote, my story wasn't told the way it should have been told on the show, which is what drove her to ultimately write this book. And so for a majority of the show had, quote, lasting effects on her. And she also says that there are certain aspects that she hasn't opened up about publicly or to her fellow cast members that we're going to discover in this book as well. Again, the book is currently available for sale. Right. So I really feel for her, you know, and again, like you saw some of this stuff play out on the show. I believe everything she's saying. And I feel terribly for her that this was her experience dancing for Abby Lee Miller. I think that all of these girls were traumatized and deeply, deeply scarred and hurt and damaged in one way or another, right, by their experience dancing for Abby Lee Miller. And that's why so many of them refused to speak to her, didn't show up for that, not the reboot, but the kind of like reunion sort of thing that they held. Like they're just not doing well because their delicate psyches as children were hurt, you know, were bruised, were damaged, were played with, you know, and I think that's really, really terrible. So let's get into some of these comments that you guys had left about the story, okay? And by the way, I'm also going to be dropping a call-in link. I know some of you guys might be at work or a little busy, but just in case you'll have a moment to call in, share your words, your thoughts, any opinions you have about this, please feel free to do so. I just put it in the chat box, okay? When he says, Nia was always one of my favorites too. She had a contagious smile. I could never forget her Laquifa dance, right? Acacia says, I believe Nia. It was obvious. See, I think a lot of you guys feel that same way too, that there was always something kind of going on with the way that she was treated on that show. Kara says, I absolutely love Dance Moms, and I can absolutely believe Nia. Autumn Bree says the racism was very obvious on that show. My daughter was begging me to watch it for some reason. I finally let her watch a few episodes and didn't like what I saw, specifically the racism. You know, it's always so sad to see this happen to, you know, the Black girls on these television shows. You know, I have to get into Selling Sunset, but from what I'm seeing, the way that even Chelsea is being treated this season, like she sent a bouquet of flowers to Mary, and Mary felt unsafe by that, and she had to shut down production and all this stuff and made a huge deal of being sent flowers, condolences and whatnot. Like, just very weird behavior overall. And then, you know, don't forget what we were talking about yesterday with Huda and how she and Louis were laughing as people on their Instagram were calling Alondria racial slurs. Like, it's very ugly. Summer Breeze says he barely even talk. Sorry, this is the K-Fed. I wanted to get back to that. Don't worry. I want to get back to that as well. Shem says, without any allegations from Nia, I feel like I saw the racism right on TV. Right? I agree. Becky says, today's my daughter's 15th birthday. Happy birthday to your daughter, Becky. Whoop, whoop. Oh, it's also Diddy's birthday. Damn it. I'm sorry. It had to be that way. I'm so sorry. If it makes her feel any better, I share a birthday with Kitten Heels Clinton. Shem says, Abby Lee came into a job I worked back in the day. Lean closer. She came into a job I worked back in the day at Designer Shoe Warehouse on the Upper West Side. She had a mean attitude in general, in my opinion. I asked her if she was on Dance Moms, and she's all, yeah, damn. That doesn't surprise me. Abby Lee, I feel like that thing went to her head and blew her head up. Now she and her little scooter, they think they run these streets. Cara says Nia stayed at the bottom of that pyramid. She really did. Like, it really felt like she never really had any chance, any upward mobility, you know, as far as those things were concerned. And I feel like the only one that Abby really liked was, what's her name? Maddie or something like that. She was obsessed with Maddie, right? Wasn't Holly an educator? Didn't she have a PhD? Listen, I think she seemed like she was, you know, she to me was like Olivia Pope before Olivia Pope. That's how I would see her. Like, she would always come in with like her suit and stuff. My friend's mom was like that too. Like, she would come to all of his basketball games, right? And she would have her suit. She would have her laptop. I was like, I wonder what that lady does. Like, she just seems so powerful, you know, like, and that's how I see her as well. Ramsey says that Dance Mom show is on TLC here, but I've never seen it. Even I have standards, LOL. It is absolutely an ish show. It really, really is. Okay, so there you guys go. She's sort of professor, principal. So she's in education, and she's got her PhD. So she saw through all of this stuff, right? So you guys saw all this stuff play out on the show, you know, and how nasty Abby was to Holly overall. You know, I know she was nasty to all the girls, but there was a difference, you know, in the way that she treated Holly particularly, that just, you know, wasn't okay at all. You know, very, very, very sad. Very sad. Good morning, Sharjay. Nice to see you. I like that color of your lipstick. It looks good on you. Shem says, LMAO, my black has arched feet. So does my mom and my husband and a lot of other. Exactly. I'm like, where did she get this from? Like, that's crazy. Does Abby even have arched feet, or did they collapse from? And you know what, Shelby? Yeah, I kind of agree. Holly should be ashamed of herself for putting her daughter through that. Abby was wrong, but as a parent, you're supposed to protect your babies. And I agree. I think at a certain point, you pull out your child when you see this sort of thing happening. It's not okay what Nia went through, you know, and we all saw it happening. And again, with Holly's background as a doctor, right, and an educator and a principal, I think that she could have done more to protect her from this. Hey, Faye, saying howdy and starting welcome to the Playback Posse. Boom. Siani, I love this name. I always saw being at the bottom of the pyramid as a positive thing. You were the foundation and main support for those on top. Well, listen, I like your mentality. But listen, we all know Abby didn't mean it that way. And I agree, Shem. She really did. She was sadistic to those children. I was always shocked that the moms would keep their kids on that. And when she would yell at them, listen, I'm a grown woman, right? And the yelling stresses me out. It gets my heart rate going because I'm not used to yelling. I didn't grow up in a yelling household. I don't yell. My friends don't yell. You know, my lovers don't yell. Like, just seeing that is shocking. And so just the fact that they would have their kids around that, exposed to that, like these toxic environments, was always so shocking to me. I was like, really? Like, is this the only dance company in the whole county or something that y'all can go to? Y'all can't find anybody else? Pull all your talents together, to somebody else? Cami says JDF's daughter Jenna met Abby Lee when she was little. I think she was nice to her because her dad was there and he's a Power Ranger. And that's the thing about people like this, right? They pick and choose who they're going to be nice to. And it's typically people that are known in some capacity, right? I remember Holly did snap when Abby made a racist comment about Nia's hair when she had braids. It's crazy. Braids are so cute. Braids are so fun. Braids are so creative. I think Abby got out. Yeah, and I agree. Right? And those girls were so freaking talented. They really, really were. Right? Ramster's got an inflammatory question. Please educate me. But things as dance moms, honey boo boo, tiara stuff, isn't that very American culture? Like cheerleaders and jocks, things in school. I don't know, as a Canadian, but I think it's just things that are amplified for entertainment value. Yes, there are certain subgroups of people that are really into pageantry or people that are really into dance or whatever, but like the actual culture or whatever, as it's represented and shown on TV, is more of something for entertainment value, I think. Yeah, I really think so. It's disgusting that the parents let Abby treat their children. Yup, I agree. I still can't believe that they stuck around for that, right? Absolutely insane. Just a nasty person. She is. She's so mean. Truly so freaking mean. Shem says she had canceled, she called ahead asking for this is more Abby Lee Miller tea. So apparently she was a biatch and she called ahead asking for every shoe in the store size 11 or 12 be set aside for her. And it wasn't done. So I guess she was annoyed. That's not a service offered for a reasonable ask. Exactly. No. Who do you think you are? The president of the United States or something like that? We're going to be walking around. No. You come to the store. You look at the shoes you like. Then you ask for them specifically in your size. This is not a private, shut the store down, I'm buying out, the day from you guys sort of an experience. Absolutely freaking not. And exactly me. Whitney, that's what I always wondered. I was like, really, Abby, don't start. Anyway, you guys, listen, that does it. Another episode of the Morning Report. Per usual, I had a great time chatting with you, and I'm looking forward to being back again tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to talk more about the day's hottest stories. If you enjoyed today's episode of the show, please don't forget to give it a like, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Okay, you guys, take care. Bye now.